Shakur is banged up. I still think a big year's coming for Dalton Kincaid. I'm not worried about that.
What do you call him? Shakir?
Yeah. Shakur? Khalil Shakir.
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 Yeah.
What did I say? Did I mispronounce it?
I think you kind of went with
I think he is bullying.
I think you went Shakur Sanders type of,
No.
He's trying to get in your head before the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
He is trying to screw
Just don't bring up Khalil Shakir to Jimmy Fallon.
I won't. I'm definitely not
talk
doing
Bills
that.
offense.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. Connor Rogers, Matthew Berry, Jay Croucher, Khalil Shakir.
Slot receptions don't lie, Matthew.
No, they don't.
I like Tupac Shakur.
Slot receptions and hips, neither of them lie. You lie, however. He was trying to get in my head for the Tonight Show. It's what he does.
See the evil facial hair?
Oh, my God. It's the mental warfare I have to suffer through on this show. You have no idea. But
makes you stronger.
Luckily, I crushed the Tonight Show. Like a grape.
Like a grape.
Crushed it like a grape.
Back to that already.
Yeah.
Slap him like a grape.
We've never gone away from it. We've never gone away from it.
Sleepers Day, by the way.
It's always a favorite day around the office.
It really, we did break out some
Sleepy
bus.
start for you.
Yeah,
the
what are we
week,
gonna do?
Sleeper right here, Matthew Berry.
I used all my good stuff on the Tonight Show, which is available on YouTube. You should check it out, starring Jill and Fallon.
But also watch this show.
You're going to have to get through an hour of this somehow, so we'll get you started here.
All right.
Our first sleeper is Ricky Pearsall.
Hey now.
Ooh, what a road it's been for Ricky Pearsall. We got to hear from Kyle Shanahan on the differences from him going year one now into his second NFL season.
Ricky's such a good football player, and he works so the right way, and he's got such natural hands, such natural route running ability, and the game's not too big for him. So Ricky's biggest thing is just being out there and trying to stack days. He got off to a late start because of his hamstring, but he's been able to stack days here over these last couple of weeks, and when he does that, he just gets better and better and really helps us out on offense.
Yeah, and Ricky Pearsall, in addition to stacking days, he also drinks for free here at the Happy Hour. Give me a couple reasons why. Think about Ricky Pearsall last year. This time last year, he was recovering from a gunshot wound. Right? This is a kid that we were like, is this guy is he gonna live? Right? There was concerns about that, and then just like, well, is he gonna play football again? And now we're talking about him as a sleeper. That's right. He leads my sleeper list. You think about the San Francisco 49ers wide receiver group, and we don't think Brandon Ayuk starts until probably the middle of the season. Kyle Shanahan said, as part of that same press conference, I believe, he said, we're looking at week 6. Now, of course.
Week 12.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan, of course, always well known for his very accurate predictions of when his players will be back. So, right, if Kyle Shanahan says Ayuk's back in week 6, it probably means 2027. And so, whatever. We know Ayuk is banged up. Juwan Jennings is either truly banged up and also holding out for a contract, or not really banged up but still holding out for a contract. And just, it's among the reasons why we're so high on George Kittle and Chris McCaffrey as part of this passing attack, but also by Ricky Pearsall, who last year had 5 games where he had at least a 15% target share, which isn't that much. Average over 16 fantasy points per game, average almost 70 yards per game. And so it's a really nice schedule for the 49ers this year as well. And as you heard Kyle, he's just, the important thing is he's just got to stack days, which I don't know what that means. I guess it just means he just show up to work and just keep and
you're stacking days.
I'm definitely stacking days. I'm a day stacker. Everyone knows that.
He's very good at the end of last season, Ricky Pearsall, particularly those last 2 games where he went 8 for 141 on the touchdown against the Lions, then week 18. Not with Brock Purdy, but still 6 for 69 and a touchdown. I think the thing, Connor, with the Niners is, at least until Ayuk gets back, we've been so used to this team being just so loaded with this fantasy buffet of weapons of peak Deebo Samuel alongside George Kittle or Christian McCaffrey, Ayuk, and now it's looking a little thin until Ayuk
narrow.
gets back.
It's narrow. You're hoping Christian McCaffrey has a healthy season. Sure, we know how good George Kittle is. Then it's Ricky Pearsall. That's where the targets are funneled right now because Ayuk's health. With Juwan Jennings we talked about as well. And Pearsall was a first-round pick. The expectation should be high here.
It should be. And, look, no one loves Brock Purdy more than Jay Croucher, who feels he's perennially underrated. But, Pearsall is somebody who's going to get a ton of targets from a quarterback that we all like here as well. I have him currently at number 82 overall, according to the FantasyLife.com consensus ADP, which looks at the ADP of every site out there. He's going outside the top 100, just outside the top 100. So I'm like about 2 rounds ahead of consensus right now. So Ricky Pearsall is my sleeper.
Yeah, for our sleepers for this tier, we're going to try to stick between rounds 8 to 12. And then we'll have some deeper sleepers later on in the show, guys that could even be undrafted right now. Jay, what wide receiver are you going with?
Looking at Chris Olave, who when he's been healthy, he's been an elite wide receiver. Some of his underlying stats are the best in the NFL in terms of yards per route run. He's been top 12 in the NFL since coming into the league. Hasn't had great quarterback play. He's probably not going to have great quarterback play this year, but I think that with a lot of the time with health and injury risk, just because we've seen a guy injured, you just mentally think that he is going to get injured again, and that's not a given. Chris Olave could well stay healthy this year, and yeah, it's not going to be a great Saints offense, but I do think that there is strangely some upside in this offense, at least to get Chris Olave the ball, because the offensive line, Connor, might actually be good because
they've got a lot of resources into it.
They got 4 first-round picks on the offensive line. Let's go with Eric McCoy at center, who might be the best of the group. They have Rashid Shaheed spacing the field for Chris Olave, and the quarterback options aren't great, but they got a few of them, so they can roll the dice and see what sticks there.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. Olave is really talented. He can win down the field. It's just the concussion history is what scares you there, and that's why you're getting him at this cost, Matthew. I mean, this is somebody that right now is the 83rd player typically taken in drafts.
He was somebody that, at full health, is going as basically a top 12 wide receiver in fantasy football. And so I get the quarterback concerns, I get the health concerns, but that's baked into the ADP significantly. I'm at 64 overall. He's currently going like 83 overall.
Right.
So same thing. I'm 2 rounds higher. I agree with you. At that stage of the draft, like the upside is so massive because, again, assuming health, he's going to earn a massive target share on a team that should be throwing with not very much target competition.
I'll go pretty far down the board here, guys, and go with rookie Tyler Warren, right, who is not typically drafted as a top 10 tight end right now, and I get the concerns. People are looking around, they go, I don't really want much to do with an offense with either Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones. I think he's a rookie tight end that is kind of quarterback-proof because of the style he plays. Yes, he can win down the field, but he can also win with the ball in his hands after the catch. We got to hear from Tyler Warren on that and his physicality.
I think for tight ends, especially being bigger bodies, being able to break tackles is kind of expected when you do get the ball. I think that's we take pride in that in our room. I think that's kind of the position in general is kind of what's expected when you do get the ball in open space.
You smile when you say that. Your coaches kind of say you like the smoke. I mean, like you don't mind contact. Fair?
No, I mean I think a lot of people don't mind contact out here if you're playing professional football now, but it is part of it. So I think it's important to embrace it, or else you're deal with consequences.
Very Jeremy Shockey.
Very much, yeah. Yeah, he wants the smoke, as he said.
He started in the first preseason game. He lowered his shoulder, wants to run through people. He's going to get a lot of targets. I'm in. I'm in, and I mean, they invested a high-end pick into this guy.
I want to buy low on Shane Steichen as well, because I think we forget that it wasn't that long ago that Shane Steichen was Tyler Goodson's fingertips away from winning the AFC South with Gardner Minshew as his starting quarterback.
That's correct.
Gardner Minshew just endured a shocking year for Las Vegas, so we see what Shane Steichen was able to get out of him. And so I think that between Anthony Richardson and his upside, or if he flames out, Daniel Jones and his floor, which is a little bit more raised, I do think there is going to be a competent offense that Steichen can get in. Good offensive line, you've got good weapons. Tyler Warren might be the best weapon of all in the past.
There has to be a competent offense. To your point, and I think Lawrence Jackson made this point last week when we were talking about Jonathan Taylor as well, but either Anthony Richardson takes a step forward this year and is a competent quarterback and they feel good about it, or if he's not, they do have Daniel Jones, who's probably more of a floor quarterback than a high-end quarterback, but Daniel Jones is not terrible. Daniel Jones is fine. He's a professional quarterback. He's better than Gardner Minshew. He's better than the guys that the Giants had last year, right? He is somebody that will be able to get the ball to Tyler Warren, to Pittman, to Josh Downs. And so the only way that Daniel Jones doesn't start if Anthony Richardson shows enough growth that he can, in fact, do that. And so I love the call here with Warren. I'll be honest with you. When we were putting together our lists for this show, producer Damien just sent in, because I was busy on Tonight Show. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I was in New York City. I was in the green room with 30 Rock, talking with Jimmy Fallon, preparing for my appearance on the legendary Tonight Show. So I probably haven't mentioned that. No big deal, NBD. But so what producer Damien did, is he went to my rankings and just sort of picked out this is probably who Matthew's going to pick based on my rankings. And so by the time I got around to the text, basically, like, who do I want to pick, you'd already chosen Tyler Warren.
So I was not on the Tonight Show.
No, you
I was working.
You
I was
were
grinding.
Yeah,
the
you were
spreadsheets.
grinding.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Connor was actually supposed to go on last week, but then he got
Yes.
subbed out for Todd Zeal.
Yeah,
right,
it
for
was
last
fake.
night.
I can't believe this keeps happening.
Yeah.
By the way,
Todd Zeal wins.
I hate to report I am up for the Emmy again this year. I'm very nervous I could lose to Todd again.
Is Todd also nominated?
I think so. I don't know the full list, but
God, I'm going to be cheering for Zeal.
I almost
Back to back.
actually almost didn't tell you guys. I've known this for like 3 weeks, and I think I've just told my family. But there you go. So we'll have fun with that when I lose again.
I wonder, Jay, how can we fix it? How can we bribe the voters to so that Todd Zeal wins?
Yep. We'll see.
It's only going to.
You might not have to do that. That's the
I don't
problem.
know who, right, but I don't know who else is nominated because the truth is that it's only funny if Todd Zeal wins.
It is.
Like if
Bart beats me, like my teammate Bart Scott, I think he's nominated as well. Like
We
that's
love
not
Bart Scott.
Right. But it's like okay, but
That's
like
not funny.
If Todd beats me the second time,
amazing.
it's very funny for you guys.
It is very funny.
Yeah.
So,
Find someone who loses awards all the time. Scorsese was the guy, but then he won.
right, then he won one. Where's the soap actress? There was a soap opera actress who was constantly
Lost the set.
No,
We're gone.
But she was famous for losing all the time. She constantly lost. You guys who know what I'm talking about. Whatever, guys.
Took DiCaprio a while to win the bid.
Yeah, exactly.
So
my day's coming.
Took Art Monk way too long to get into the Hall of Fame. Anyway, it'll come to me on the it's right there on the tip of my tongue.
Be there for Thursday's show. The soap actress who loses all the
soap
time.
opera actress.
Yeah, we'll get back to
Very
that.
well known.
Yeah. Anyway, point is I was jealous of the Tyler Warren pick because I could not agree more. Again, they will be able to get him the ball, and I always go back to this. Again, we passed on Brock Bowers last year because we're like target competition with Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, bad quarterback play. We know he's got insane talent, and I'm not saying Tyler Warren is Brock Bowers, but he's not like that far off either.
Right, I agree.
And I would argue that that Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell last year for Brock Bowers isn't any worse than Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones.
Agreed. Last thing on Daniel Jones as well. I think it's a good indicator for him and the Colts that Kevin O'Connell had Daniel Jones in the building, and it seemed like they went really hard trying to keep him. And it's just the Colts outbid them and paid a lot for, ostensibly a backup quarterback. So at least another indicator, at least that someone smart wanted Daniel Jones to stick around.
Yeah. I'm Googling this. Well, you go ahead. You talk about your sleeper.
We were going to have you go next.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
All right, I'll
Jay,
Google it.
Jay went with one Saints wide receiver, but I think you're looking at the other one.
Yeah, how about Rashid Shaheed?
Oh, yeah.
I have a need for Shaheed.
You were able to spit that name out. Just.
Barely. We almost had a Shakur situation.
Shakir.
Shakir. Anyway, last year, Rashid Shaheed was wide receiver 29 in points per game prior to the injury. Right? He had a 24% target share, which is a team high. Since he's entered the NFL, he leads all players in yards per target. And that was one of the reasons why, for a while, he was a part-time player. We kept saying, free Rashid Shaheed, but they wanted him on special teams. They just wouldn't commit to him in a full-time role. Right. Last year, they finally did, but then he gets hurt. So the fact is, again, it's the same thing with Olave to an extent, where he needs to be healthy. But there's a very narrow target tree on a team that should be throwing a lot, and again, he is so fast playing indoors in the Superdome. All he needs is one to make your day. He's currently going as 111. He's going at 137 overall. According to Fantasy Life ADP, he's going basically 138, 137, somewhere in there. I'm at 111. So once again, at least two rounds higher than consensus. I just think Shaheed, there's too much upside, especially when you're at that part of the draft. Why would you not take a chance on him, assuming health, which at the moment it appears he's healthy.
Yep. Absolute advanced stat darling, Rashid Shaheed as well. Very much
all the underlying stats for sure.
The Alex Caruso of the NFL, kind of relatively low usage, but high impact player who just gets separation, yards per route run, elite, hyper efficient.
Feels like he's a Pro Bowler with Mahomes.
Yeah.
If he went to the Chiefs, where do we rank Shaheed?
Right.
Yeah.
He's
Not 137.
No, he's like Tyreek Hill. Right?
Yeah, right.
He's
Yeah,
that'd be
2021
amazing.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, exactly.
How about another sleeper from you, Jay?
How about friend of the show, Tony Pollard,
Sure.
whose job now has seemingly the path to more snaps, more playing time has gotten easier with Tyjae Spears dealing with this high ankle sprain that's going to keep him out the rest of the preseason. And with Pollard, couple things. One, offensive line in Tennessee, much improved. Quarterback situation just kind of has to be improved based on what they got last year versus Cam Ward coming in this year. And then I think, in a way, the most important thing is that the underlying stats on Tony Pollard, they got a lot better last year. Another year removed from the broken leg. He came on our show and talked about how that previous year in Dallas, he didn't feel like it was until like middle of the season, week 9, week 10, where he got his explosion back. Last year, he seemed to get his explosion back fully, where he was 3.4 yards after contact per attempt. That was top 10 among running backs with 100+ rushes. And, you know, he's going in the range of guys like DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, Caleb Johnson. Like, I like Tony Pollard more than all those guys.
All right, this is a team with a rookie quarterback. Like, you want to run the ball. You want to protect
and one
him.
receiver.
Right, yeah.
You know, Calvin Ridley's not Justin Jefferson either. He's good, but he's not. Yeah, they're going to need to run the ball. This is a team and a coaching staff whose identity is the offensive line. Like, I think they're going to want to run the ball.
There's no question about that. And again, like you mentioned the Spears injury as well. Like, just talking about underlying numbers here. In terms of snap rate and touches per game last season, he was top 10 among all running backs. Like, you know, he is somebody that has been elite, got injured, elite again. So I'm with you on Tony Pollard. I'm at running back 23. His consensus is running back 28, so I'm higher on him than others.
Coming into 2023 after Zeke left Dallas and it was going to be Tony Pollard's backfield, we were talking about this guy as like potentially an RB1.
Yes.
And then he had a tough year in Dallas, even though the offense was good. Just didn't seem like he had the same explosion or confidence. Like, there are worlds where he could absolutely be a top 12 running back this year.
Another sleeper from me, guys. And once again, these are guys in rounds 8 to 12 based on ADP. How about the disparity in this, Matthew? Emeka Egbuka is being drafted around 114 right now. You have him 76th overall. He's being drafted as wide receiver 47. He's wide receiver 38 in your rankings. I love it. He's one of those rookies that he's ready to go. He is a pro-ready player out of the Ohio State program. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs offense is going to throw a ton. Yeah. And with Chris Godwin being ramped up a lot slower than we once expected, Emeka Egbuka is going to have a good target share at least the first month of the season. I think he's going to be a really high-end player right out of the gate.
First 2 years with Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield third in pass attempts in the NFL. And it's the same offensive system. So to your point, there's lots to go around. Yes, you've got Mike Evans there, but with no Chris Godwin, it's really him competing with Jalen McMillan. And I think there's an argument, even though McMillan was nice towards the end of last year, that Emeka Egbuka is better. He's just a better player, and you're seeing it play out in camp. Like, all the buzz from the beats, and you're seeing some of the videos out there with training camp is just, he's amazing. Yep. He's been as advertised.
Yep.
So I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah, you'd certainly still expect Mike Evans to be the #1 guy in Tampa Bay, but wouldn't be terribly shocking if that becomes Egbuka by the end of the season. This offense was incredibly explosive last year, and even with Liam Cohen gone, you mentioned they're keeping the same offensive system. They just generate a lot of easy touches for their guys. It's a lot of screen passes, it's a lot of low A-dot stuff, and then Baker can unleash the deeper stuff too. So I think this is going to be one of the 5 best offenses in football if Tristan Wirfs comes back and is healthy and himself, and Egbuka can profit from that.
I mean, I am at 76 overall. He's currently going 114. So, huge gap in terms of my belief in Emeka Egbuka. By the way, the answer to the question that I posed that no one had the answer for is Susan Lucci.
Oh,
yeah, Susan Lucci,
infamous.
19 times. She was nominated for an Emmy 19 times and lost 19 straight years until she finally won.
When do you stop
For All
attending?
My Children?
I think after the 3rd. Right. You stop attending. You just say, if I win, text me.
Okay, so what Emmy nomination will this be for you?
This is my second.
This is only your second. Okay.
Yeah. I've done Jets pre and post game 3 years. This is the second. I got nominated the first year, and now I got nominated for the 3rd year.
Okay.
I did go the first year.
Right, and you'll go this year.
I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Well, because
we just said 3 years. You got to give it 3 years.
Yeah, but I guess I'll have to go.
Yeah. What happened year 2, by the way?
I don't know. I'd love to know.
Yeah,
not even nominated.
Yeah, exactly.
The
down year.
Committee has mixed feelings about me. Clearly. I mean, what's going on here?
Listen, if you get snubbed this time, be the worst snub since Edward Norton lost for American History X to Roberto Benigni for Life is Beautiful. An absolute disgrace of a decision.
That is actually pretty jarring.
How does Edward Norton not win for American History?
Yes.
Anyway. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a very fair comparison, an apt one
Yes.
as well. Who won so the year you were nominated, Todd Zeal won. Who won the?
I don't know.
Oh,
I'll have to go back and
look.
there's got to be a database.
I'm sure there is.
I just opted out entirely. Once I wasn't nominated,
you screw that.
yeah, exactly. But now I need to be in their good graces again.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a tough one because you don't want to
Start
go there
tweeting about
and
this.
lose again. But like if you do wind up winning, you don't want.
Then I don't get to speak.
Right. Then
Somebody
you
has to
have
take the
someone
award
has
for
to
me
take
and
the
say,
award. You know what you should do is send Lawrence Jackson there. To
because
do that.
we always win when Lawrence is there.
We won a podcast award, and the only person that was there to accept in Las Vegas, this is like 3 years ago when we first joined, was Lawrence.
Right.
And at that point, Lawrence was on the show like once a month.
Yeah,
but,
maybe.
But like, not even, like, I think he had been like, guesting, like he'd been on it like maybe, like probably less than 5 times that first year. But yeah, that's the picture of just him holding the award.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like,
It's a great picture.
No, I got Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Lawrence Jackson.
Probably was a great speech.
I'm sure it was.
We didn't get to see
The
it.
irony was,
Lawrence is
I
always
think
good.
you might have left Vegas, but I was still in Vegas, but I was around the corner at a sports book betting on the Ravens to win the Super Bowl while Lawrence was accepting
Paper tickets.
that's right.
15-1, and then they lost the
Oh, I
Chiefs
had
in the
to
AFC
go.
title game.
I had to fly for something with my daughters. Yeah, that's right. So I left that early.
Alas.
Anyway, alas.
All right, so now what you really waited for, the super deep sleepers. These are players that are being taken after round 12 by consensus ADP, which you could use Fantasy Life for all your consensus ADP, depending on what server, of course, you use. Some of these guys aren't even drafted.
Yeah.
By the way, Matthew, who do you like to start with here?
Yeah, in terms of the deep sleepers, and so we're as to your point, these are people that are not even being drafted, or if they are, it's very, very late round. And so I'm going to go. I'm high on Jacksonville as a. We talked about Travis Hunter on the other show. Obviously, we talked about Trevor Lawrence before. How about Brenton Strange, their tight end? At least 9 fantasy points in 7 of his 9 career games with double-digit target share. You think about the Jaguars last year with Trevor Lawrence, 8th in tight end target share. So they like to throw to the tight end. I get it. It's a different offense than what they were running last year under Doug Peterson. But Liam Cohen comes in. He made Cade Otton a thing last year.
Yeah.
Brenton Strange is somebody that I believe on a team that is going to be throwing a ton. And outside of the 2 big guys, there's not a lot of competition in the middle of the field. Again, Evan Ingram is now in Denver. We got Parker Washington, nice little slot player, but whatever. But I do think as a tight end 2, I have him at tight end 16. His current ADP is tight end 21. I like Brenton Strange this year. You see my rankings there on the screen.
Brenton Strange, right behind Dalton Kincaid and right in front of waiver wire darling Hunter Henry.
For sure.
Just going to put up his 8 touchdowns as always, Hunter Henry. My first deep sleeper, and there will be a running theme across my 2 deep sleepers, but my first one is Hollywood Brown, who's going 154th overall as wide receiver 60. And the angle here is that there's just a lot of uncertainty around Rashid Rice and how long he is going to be out, what the Chiefs' offense is going to look like. We all expect that Xavier Worthy will step up and be the guy, but there are worlds where Hollywood Brown is, in given games, the number 1 option for Patrick Mahomes. And he had a 19% target share when he was out there with Mahomes last season. Hollywood Brown, who feels like he's been around forever, he just turned 28. He's 4 years younger than Devontae Adams. It's not like this guy is completely done or anything.
For sure.
We didn't see him much with Mahomes at all last year. So I just think that, when you're talking about deep sleepers, like, I'm not looking for guys who can just, maybe get onto the end of my bench and be like 6 points. Yeah, like, I want upside.
Right.
And Hollywood Brown, I do think, has some upside still. We thought that he would come in and potentially be a wide receiver 1 for Mahomes last year alongside Rashid Rice. We just didn't see him out in the field much.
He's been an elite fantasy talent before. So, it's funny. A friend of mine, a guy named Ron Chandler, who's a legend in the fantasy baseball space, always used to say, when it comes to fantasy baseball analysis, that once you display a skill, you own it. That a player would. And so, to the point is like, we have seen Hollywood Brown produce at a high level in fantasy football. It has not happened recently because of injuries, and there's certainly target competition in Kansas City, but Rashid Rice is, you never know, right, in terms of how injuries play out, how the suspension ultimately is going to pay out for Rice. So Hollywood Brown, given the potential talent, the potential of staying healthy, and 15 at quarterback, is certainly a worthy bet to take. I'm at 157 overall, and that's about where he's going. I mean, he's not even going inside the top 60 wide receivers.
I'm taking almost your exact playbook, the Bills version, in Josh Palmer.
Sure.
Josh Palmer right now, who they gave a lot of money to, by the way. He got a 3-year contract worth over $30 million. Josh Palmer right now, by ADP, 184th. That's wide receiver 70. He's a total afterthought. there's a world, especially with Khalil Shakir banged up right now, that Josh Palmer is Josh Allen's number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's number 2 wide receiver cannot be wide receiver 70. He can't.
Yeah.
And he wins down the field.
He wins down the field, right? Again, we think Keon Coleman is going to be good, but we haven't seen it yet.
We've seen consistently.
We've seen flashes, but we have not seen it consistency. You got Curtis Samuel and Elijah Moore, right? Again, like in terms of deep threats, it's really Palmer versus Coleman.
Right.
And, Allen's got the kind of arm, and this is the kind of offense that potentially you could see both guys. So I don't mind the call at all. Remember, Josh Allen last year, top 4 among quarterbacks in terms of deep pass attempts. Stat that tells you what you already know. Dude likes to chuck it deep.
On that, last year, Bills receivers on targeted deep shots, they had the least separation in the NFL. So the guys just weren't getting open on those deep shots, and Allen was just, he's chucking it down there because he's Josh Allen. But if he's got a guy who can actually separate and get deep, he will get targeted.
3 for $30 million. No one's really been talking about it, right?
Yeah. It was a big deal. It was like, I think, about $12 million per year. It was a big contract for a number 3 wide receiver.
For a guy that,
I like him more than everyone else.
Yeah.
So
I like that call. I like the call a lot. I'm in.
He's free.
100%.
Wide receiver 70s for free.
Yeah.
So
not being drafted at all. My next guy is this is going to surprise you, but I'm going back to the Commanders.
Oh,
I'm going to the Commanders.
I haven't had a lot of Commanders talk.
I haven't had a lot of Commanders, actually, to be honest with you.
Jaden Daniels, deep sleeper.
Yeah, exactly. I really like this kid, number 5. Jacory Crosky-Merritt, JCM, Bill, some people call him Bill, but JCM Hive, rise up. The opportunity is there in terms of this offense. Washington, top 12 in running back fantasy points last season as well. Look, he's already a fan favorite. You see a tweet from our friend JP Finley, all the kids yelling for Bill. He's become a fan favorite because they've seen him at practice in terms of the size and the speed. Like, there's an explosiveness to Bill, to Jacory Crosky-Merritt here. Each of the last 3 seasons, Brian Robinson has missed times. Austin Eckler missed 5 games last year. He's on the wrong side of 30. We love Austin Eckler, proud Fantasy Life investor. But the fact of the matter is there are scenarios where you could easily see, whether it's due to injury or poor play or just because they're going to be run at such a high pace of play, that you could see Jacory Crosky-Merritt get in and be a factor this year. I really like him a lot. Again, they used both Eckler and Robinson last year were fantasy relevant when they were both on the field. Both have had injury history throughout their career, so you could see JCM being in there. And I think a lot of people are wondering, like, why was this guy a 7th-round pick? Why have I never heard of this guy, Connor? You can talk about the eligibility thing, which is so weird.
Bizarre, strange story. That was not his fault, but the NCAA, he had a weird eligibility issue based on another player wearing the number. It's very long and confusing and a classic NCAA mistake, where he couldn't play college football last year for Arizona. And at New Mexico, the tape was phenomenal.
He basically loaned his jersey to another kid his freshman year when he was redshirted. So they thought he played his freshman year when he actually didn't.
It wasn't him.
It wasn't him. It was somebody wearing his number, and they couldn't clean it up. And it's
right. And he's supposed to have a big season after transferring up from New Mexico to Arizona, and then he can't play, and that kills his draft stock. Goes to the Shrine Bowl, has a good Shrine Week. And, I mean, for context, and this might sound crazy, it was definitely one of my hotter draft takes. I had him ranked over R.J. Harvey last year. I had him RB12. I had Harvey 13th. And I like both players, and I both had a 4th-round grade on them. But 4th-round grade compared to a guy that went in the 7th round, if he was able to play college football last year, he would have been a top at least 100, 125 kind of pick. But he's completely overlooked because he couldn't play because of an eligibility issue. Now he's in Commanders camp, and it seems like everybody's like, wait a second, what did we find here?
Yeah, what do you know?
Very talented runner.
Adam Peters finding another late round
good track record.
Good track record when you think about the Elijah Mitchells and the Jordan Masons of the world.
Yeah. I think another thing, too, is that, when in doubt, just go with the offense that you feel really good about and that you're confident is going to put up a lot of points. And I think there's some skepticism around the Commanders because last year they played a lot of bad quarterbacks and they had incredible success on 3rd and 4th down, which might be a little bit unsustainable. I kind of go the other way where I look at it and it's like, Jaden Daniels was a rookie, didn't have a good offensive line, had basically one receiver. Now he has a better offensive line. He has a legit left tackle. He's going into his 2nd year. He's going to have gained experience he'll be able to apply. Deebo Samuel, I think, will be rejuvenated. I just think this offense is just going to succeed at an extremely high level. And if Jaden Daniels is healthy, I think you just walk into a top 5 offense, I think, with how good he is. And so I think that there's going to be a lot of touchdowns. There's going to be a lot of fantasy points to be had.
How about another deep sleeper for you?
Yeah, so my next guy, in similar vein to Hollywood Brown, is Rashod Bateman. Who I think look, everyone's penciling in Zay Flowers as the #1 wide receiver for the Ravens, which I think is correct. But Rashod Bateman, another advanced stats, underlying stats darling, where he was incredibly efficient in terms of his production when targeted. I think we forget too, like Rashod Bateman's 25 years old. He was a first-round draft pick. Like, they spent significant capital on him. He's dealt with injury issues. And last year was the first year where he really put it all together. 16.8 yards per reception was third highest among qualified wide receivers. His stat line overall was very solid. He went 45 receptions for 756 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns. I think he can be better than that. I think he has another gear that he can get to. I think he is one of the most diverse weapons in this passing attack. I think that the Ravens, I think they're going to have to throw a little bit more than they did last year, because just think about, we talk on one hand about how Derrick Henry ripping off these 70-yard touchdown runs a little bit unsustainable. Okay, if that regresses, what does that mean? It means that the yards have to go somewhere else. And I think that Lamar might have to throw a little bit more. I think that Rashod Bateman, I would not be shocked if he is the most productive wide receiver on the Ravens this year. I make Flowers the favorite, but I think Bateman has that possibility.
Again, we saw him be a wide receiver 1 down the stretch with Zay Flowers out. And the other thing is, again, as we talked about with Palmer, like, follow the money. Rashod Bateman, they did not need to pay him this offseason.
Right.
They could have, like, in terms of the way the contract was, because of the also, there was also some other NFLPA stuff there, but ultimately, like, they did the right thing and they paid Rashod Bateman. They gave him an extension this offseason. They took care of one of their own, which I think speaks to how they think about him and what they saw down the stretch last year. And so it's never been a question of talent, it's been a question of health, and we saw him health last year. Among wide receivers with at least 50 targets last year, he was third among wide receivers in fantasy points per target. Like, so if he can earn targets, which we think he can in this offense with Lamar Jackson, I think there's some real potential for fantasy opportunity here. I'm at 131 overall. He's going like outside 155 on the Fantasy Life consensus. So again, I'm like 2 or 3 rounds ahead of ADP.
Yep.
My last deep sleeper here, guys, the rookie, 7th-round rookie, Kyle Monangai at Chicago, right? It's Kyle Monangai time. And listen, 7th-round rookie running back. You think DeAndre Swift has a lot of volume there. Ben Johnson loves 2 running backs.
Yes.
And the running back that he loved in the first preseason game against the Miami Dolphins was Kyle Monangai.
That is correct.
Right now. So if you're looking for Ben Johnson to find his new David Montgomery kind of player, it's Monangai, where we're one DeAndre Swift injury potentially away from Monangai at some point this season being the starting running back for the Bears. And he's free right now.
It's 100%. I have Monangai and JCM, Crosky-Merritt, on every single dynasty team.
Right.
And I will, tons of credit, because Connor turned me on to both these guys. And once I started doing the deep dive, I was just like, oh, yeah, I'm in. 7th-round draft pick out of Rutgers. The easy comparison is Isaiah Pacheco, another 7th-round running back out of Rutgers. But Monangai, over 1,200 yards in the Big Ten each of the last 2 years, doesn't fumble.
Never fumbled.
Right. He is somebody that is, like, again, it's not going to blow you away with his speed.
No, he's not fast.
He's not fast at all.
He's just a hammer.
He's just a wrecking ball that is impossible to bring down. And you think about Chicago and playing in that cold weather and playing in that division. What does Ben Johnson want to do to take pressure off Caleb Williams? He needs to be able to effectively run the ball. And it appears, like, literally from the first preseason game, that he's passed Roschon Johnson on the step chart. So it's going to be him and DeAndre Swift. And, like, there's a non-zero chance that he passes DeAndre Swift at some point. Like, it does. Of all the kind of late-round running backs, you can see the clearest path to potential playing time for Kyle Monangai, who is completely free. Yeah, I put on some sleeper lists as well. Love the call. Again, Tyler Warren, Monangai, I'm like,
It pays to not be on the Tonight Show.
Yeah,
That's what they're
exactly.
saying.
It worked out for you. Yeah.
Don't see the same envy for Hollywood Brown, strangely.
He wasn't. I tried to sell it for you.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Well, Rashod Bateman you like.
I do like Rashod Bateman.
Okay.
I definitely like Rashod Bateman.
NBC Sports Now is our free 24/7 streaming channel. You can get NFL news and all the biggest stories in sports starting at 7 a.m. with PFT Live, The Dan Patrick Show, The Dan Levitard Show with Stu Gotts, Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry, and Chris Sims Unbuttoned. Just go to NBCSports.com/now. We're taking our first break. Still ahead, Matthew Stafford's back injury gets a little bit more worrisome by the day. We're going to hear from Sean McVay right after this.
I'm sure the first question you guys will have is about Matthew, and like we've said, we're going to be flexible and fluid. I think more than anything, I feel for Matthew because of how much he wants to be out there and feel good. Ultimately, what ended up happening, had a great workout, felt good, but then come in today and it doesn't feel great, and so didn't think that was the right decision to be able to push him. We've kind of always talked about flexibility, being fluid with some of the plans. And I think more than anything, I feel for a guy that, I really care about, that wants to be out there more than anything else. We're going to be smart, but he didn't feel good enough, and we didn't think it was the right thing to do based on, how he woke up feeling today.
That was Rams head coach Sean McVay on the status of Matthew Stafford. As you could see here from Adam Grossbard, he is the Rams beat writer for the LA Daily. Matthew Stafford walked into this immortal chamber. Immortal advertises itself as a wellness device that aims to optimize human performance and promote holistic health through a combination of non-invasive technologies. He is not practicing today. By the way, there's a follow-up to this tweet. Sean McVay said this is a red light therapy chamber that the Rams brought in for the team as a whole, not exclusive to Stafford.
I know a lot about this, specifically the immortal therapy as well. I don't want to sound any alarms, but I did that for 2 years. I'm 30 years old, just so you guys know. I mean, I don't know that it works the way you might think it does. I'm literally 30 years old, but when I went through the immortal,
that's what spit out.
Chasing the fountain of youth.
Yes, and it
went wrong as it does for so many.
Went wrong.
Yes. Just as it did for Gollum chasing the ring.
Oh my goodness.
I am the fantasy Gollum. Oh God.
All because of the immortal chamber.
Yes. Wow. Yes, immortal.
Came out of the immortal chamber.
Obviously, it's ridiculous. Who knows with any of this weird stuff? I couldn't tell you one thing about it. It's all mumbo jumbo.
Yeah. Red light therapy. Red flag.
It's not what you want. Yeah. Let's just be honest.
Right. I mean, I'm glad. I guess the positives is that it's in the parking lot and not like in Germany. He's like, no one got going to Germany for secret surgeries that whatever. Whatever McCaffrey was doing
that at this point.
Remember McCaffrey went to Germany for some sort of weird.
Somebody
infusion?
had a picture of him waiting for his flight. Like Christian McCaffrey is flying to Germany. And then everybody knew. I mean,
that Germany's not in the NFC West.
Not going there for Oktoberfest. Yeah.
So my concern was Stafford. I mean, I just don't know what is going to happen here. My concern is what happens when he gets sacked by Jalen Carter? How is the body going to respond to the rigors of a 17-game season? And so, look, I think that you just have to introduce, when you're talking from a fantasy perspective, I think you just have to introduce more variance and uncertainty into drafting Puka Nacua and drafting Devontae Adams and Kyren Williams because, Jimmy Garoppolo is probably, certainly by name brand, one of the better backups in the NFL if he does have to see time. But the last time we saw Jimmy Garoppolo was on was it Monday Night Football? He's facing the Lions and overthrowing Devontae Adams with 50 yards.
Yeah. How excited is Devontae Adams?
Saying, I got to get out of here.
Wait a minute. Just remember, just look at your paycheck, Devontae. Just remember, just look at your paycheck.
It is funny how the NFL works, that we could be back to a Devontae Adams, Jimmy G world.
Right, exactly.
Actually, dangerously close.
Dangerously close. I'm maybe taking a contrarian take here. I'm actually not that worried about it from this one perspective when it comes to Devontae Adams, because I feel like Devontae Adams is quarterback proof. I really do. I know whatever it was, but I think there was a frustration there because of not necessarily him and Jimmy Garoppolo, but also just the entire situation with the Raiders that had gone away. He had gone to the Raiders to be with his college buddy Derek Carr, and Carr had been there's a lot of bad vibes around the Raiders when that situation sort of blew up on Monday Night Football that I don't think was just Devontae Adams doesn't like Jimmy Garoppolo, right? And so, especially given the struggles last year, he gets out, he goes to New York. That season didn't go the way he wanted to. The Jets. So now he's in Los Angeles, where it's sun and it's and it's all the movie stars and the pretty people, and it's Sean McVay, who is as good a players coach as there is in the NFL. Right. He's really good at talking to people, and so whatever it is that makes Devontae Adams tick, I believe Sean McVay will get in his head. And so I'm more concerned about Puka Nacua, because what you have to do, to me, Adams is still like Adams, you drop him a little bit, I suppose, but I'm literally in an 18-team league on GuillotineLeagues.com. We're doing an 18-team Guillotine League draft, slow draft with me and all the Fantasy Life guys, and I have pick 4, and so the 4th pick of the 3rd round, Devontae Adams was still there. It's an 18-team league, so it's basically pick 40, and I was just like, what are we doing? Immediately couldn't have clicked submit quicker. I do think Nakua, who's going in the first round, and who has had injury concerns himself, because now you've got double concerns. We know how good Puka is when healthy, but Puka's got to be healthy and Garoppolo's got to be healthy. And maybe I'm crazy, but I have more nervousness about Nakua and Garoppolo's connection than I do Devontae Adams and Garoppolo, because
think of the cost, like you're saying.
Right.
If you're reflecting cost into this, where it scares you even more.
I think the other thing too is that it went a little bit under the radar because they won the division and they were, one Jalen Carter sack away from potentially beating the Eagles, who went on to win the Super Bowl, which we forget about. But with the Rams, I thought Stafford was noticeably worse last year than he was in 2023. Back into 2023, Matthew Stafford was playing like a borderline MVP level, and then last year, it felt like he got a little old. Or at least got older and it showed up, particularly towards the end of the season when he was playing those games outdoors. Like the Jets didn't play that well. The Niners was bad.
Not accurate.
They scored like 13 points against the Cardinals. He played poorly against the Dolphins in that random game that they lost at home. So it just felt like he started to, get a little bit further removed from that all-pro level that he was playing at. Now if he's dealing with back stuff in the preseason, you just worry a little bit about the ceiling of that passing game, I think.
For sure.
Staying in the NFC, Eagles star guard Landon Dickerson, one of the better guards in football, underwent a minor procedure on his knee. He could be back for week 1. I mean, guys, I think at the end of the day, you're not hitting the panic alarm on the Eagles' rushing attack with one minor injury.
You're not, but it's not ideal.
Right.
It's not ideal.
They're coming off a long season.
Yeah. Is there such thing as a minor knee injury for
a big guy.
offensive lineman?
Particularly in Philadelphia sports, where Joel Embiid had a minor knee procedure and has never been.
The last 5 years, I was going to say. Right?
Look, I think this is just, it seems like Dixon's, it's not going to be a long absence. He may be back for week 1, but I do think it's a reminder that the Eagles last year were very healthy on offense, and they played a ton of games and a ton of snaps last year, and that just has to increase your injury risk. They're just not likely to be as healthy, and there are going to be ripple effects off of that, where just Saquon Barkley's probably not going to get the same level of health from his offensive line that he did last year.
Some more news here, guys. This is a little bit more fun news over in the Seattle Seahawks camp. Torrey Horton, the day 3 wide receiver, continuing to make plays with the first-team offense ahead of Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Horton, who was a good deep threat in college, a little bit of injuries last year, but a good player, getting some looks ahead of MVS after being a 5th-round pick. He's had a really nice summer for this team, Matt.
Ahead of Jake Bobo?
Right. Who just always seems to be the star of Seattle's camp.
Yeah, I mean, do you see a scenario where Seattle? Let's talk about Seattle for a second. We talked about this a little bit when the Cup deal happened, but do you think Cup plays inside and JSN goes outside?
I know. I didn't love the Cup addition, the Cup addition for our purposes, right? Because JSN is just, you love him in the slot.
Unbelievable.
He can win on the outside, but he was unbelievable in the slot. Where I think
Cup plays some outside too, but again, that's not the ideal spot for him either.
Right. I think they just kind of split the share there. Where it means the third wide receiver does matter a lot because you need somebody that can win down the field from the outside.
And you think Horton is one of those?
I think Horton was really undervalued. I think the only reason he went in the 5th round was because he had that injured final season. He's somebody to me that was more of a day 2 talent at wide receiver. It's just a matter of, does the 3rd wide receiver in Seattle's offense, is that a viable player with how much they get the running backs and tight ends involved?
Look at the schedule. Okay, it starts off brutal, home to the 49ers and at the Steelers. But then, starting in week 3, Saints at Cardinals, home to the Bucks, at the Jaguars, home to the Texans, bye at my Commanders, home to the Cardinals, at the Rams, at the Titans, at the. It's not that easy, but it's not that scary.
Not great though. No. That's the key.
None of those defenses scary. I mean, again, 49ers at home and at the Steelers. Whatever. Home, but they're home. At least they're home to the Texans. They play my Commanders in Week 9 on Sunday Night Football.
I think the Cardinals' defense is a bit underrated. But yeah, it's not the most, you're not playing the Texans every single week on the road or anything. But yeah, I just don't know what to make of this offense at all, Connor, because it's like
away from Kevin O'Connell.
You've got Sam Darnold behind a suspect offensive line with no Kevin O'Connell. And also, Sam Darnold had a great year individually last year. The Vikings went 14-3. They're like the 15th ranked offense by EPA. That was a team that succeeded primarily off the strength of its defense, and Darnold completely melted the last 2 games that we saw him. So I just don't know what to expect. Why is Cooper Kupp randomly on the team? What's JSN's role going to be?
It's weird.
The backfield is strange. It's just very strange.
It feels like they should have just tore it all down. You know what I mean? They're just hey, let's rebuild. And, especially when they got rid of Geno Smith, and you're like, okay, and Tyler Lockett leaves, and you're like, okay, you've got JSN, you Got, whatever, Walker and Charbonnet. You've got a couple of young pieces there. You've got a couple of nice pieces on the defense as well. Like, let's just tear it all down and start over. Makes sense. But then they signed Sam Darnold to this big contract, suddenly Cooper Kupp, and you're like, where are you?
The problem is, I think that this might be an elite defense. Like, they really turned the corner in the second half of last year. They seem to learn Mike McDonald's system, and so it's like, well, we got this elite defense, and we got some weapons on offense.
That's exactly
I guess we just got to kind of get the best quarterback that we can.
And it's not a division that scares you, right?
So
I mean,
open. It's very open.
Very
Stafford,
open.
yes.
Like, again, Rams, Cardinals, and 49ers all are one injury away from being, very vulnerable.
Yeah, I feel like all these teams are kind of clustered together.
I agree.
Yeah.
One more note in the NFC, guys.
But I don't know what, I'd be fascinated to see what happens with sort of Kupp and JSN.
We got some news on Jordan Love here, by the way, who got a little banged up in the preseason opener against the Jets. So Jordan Love, it's not expected to be serious, but it seems like he did bang his hand. This is per Ian Rappaport. He will have surgery today. Brian Gutekunst, the Packers GM, called it a little procedure. It is a torn ligament in his left thumb, so he should not miss any regular season time after banging it on a helmet where he was sacked against the Jets.
He doesn't need a left thumb. Yeah. He's a righty. He doesn't matter. Cut off the arm.
He'll be all right.
It seems like he's going to be back in practice in a week. So, it's not like they're dealing with quite a few injuries to Packers, more than you would like, but it's not ideal, but probably not too material right now. But they need him back for week 1 and a full go, because that game could decide the division in week 1.
But seriously, Reed's banged up. Savion Williams is banged up. I think Dobbs is banged. Obviously Watson's already banged up. It's starting to get ugly there in Green Bay.
O'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, rev up the engines.
Let's
It's gonna be
go.
the number
Talk
one
of
option
craft,
for Jordan Love.
Yeah, Jaden Reed could miss that game, by the way. Matt LaFleur said that he might not be ready week 1 for the Lions with that foot injury. He's been in a walking boot. He was in a walking boot at the top of the week. The Packers are dealing with it right now.
This is the benefit of having 10 different 6.5 out of 10 wide receivers. You just plug the next guy in.
But listen, their first game is the Lions. They'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fun. No stakes there. Packers 2.5-point favorites, by the way, against the Lions. Not a lot of respect for Detroit.
I know the game's in Green Bay, but
Golf
that's
outdoors.
shocking.
Yeah.
I feel like Goff got rid of the outdoor thing last year.
Fair. I think the Packers' defense is going to be pretty good, better than people expect. I think guys like Edgerrin Cooper is going to make a big leap. But also, the Packers are the youngest team in the league. They're just aging curve. They should all get better.
They need their young pass rushers, though, to take a big step.
Yeah,
That's the key
need
to
some
that
of them
defense.
Lucas
But in essence, they're basically saying they think the Packers are a point better than the
Slightly
Lions,
better, slightly
right?
better
Because
on
you've always
neutral.
said you've always said that home field in the NFL is basically 1.5 points.
Yeah, it's less than it's ever been before. In the 1.5-point range. Market is saying it's early, so the market could still move a bit. But at worst, these teams are about the same level, which I think would be surprising to most, given that.
Surprising to me. I'm not sure I would buy that.
I'm buying all the dip on the Lions.
Yeah.
I love
I'm
everybody
with you.
overreacting to the Lions losing their coordinators and thinking they're going to magically stink. That team is loaded and healthy.
I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I like the Lions.
Get personalized fantasy football insights based on your league settings with Fantasy Life Plus, Matthew. Your league is unique. Your advice should be too. Head to fantasylife.com and use Roto20 for 20% off. A lot of great tools on Fantasy Life right now.
They're ridiculous, all the tools. We've spent the offseason built in. When I say we, not me, smart people.
Not the engineer of the
people.
website?
No, I just write
That
the
shocks
text.
me.
Look, so what you see here, you're seeing like our utilization report, like way too many tools for me to be able to give it all justice. But a lot of them are free, so go check them out. And if you want to buy Fantasy Life Plus, which is well worth the money, I promise you, you can use the promo code ROTO20 and get 20% off. Whether it's tools to help you sync your league, to get trade advice, waiver advice, all state-of-the-art tools. You see right here our ADP tool. So you see right here, this is the Packers wide receivers. So you can sort of see it's up to the minute. Do I play on RT Sports? Do I play on ESPN? Do I play on Sleeper? And then what you can also do is you see that the click there, you say draft board. So you can see where you can sort by team. So what I've said, like I want to know just wide receivers on the Packers and where they're going on Sleeper or ESPN, right? You can just sort, you can dial down, then you can also see like trending reports. There's a button that you can hit that's not shown right here that allows you to see like, hey, this is how much Matthew Golden's moved up in the last week. This is how much Jaden Reed has dropped. And so they'll let you know like over a short period of time who's going up and down. An incredibly valuable tool as you head into your draft, depending on where you play and what you're targeting. And there's a million tools like that.
I've been using the ADP grid every show we've done this summer, every single show, because you could sort it by what league you play in, you could sort it by position, by team, you could just do a search.
Scoring system.
Really, really helpful tool. So obviously, once again, fantasylife.com, the code for 20% off is Roto20. We're going to take our last break. Last call is next.
Your advice should be too.
Find out who we're betting to lead the league in receptions right after this. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and all customers can bet on the NFL on DraftKings now. Just download the app and use promo code FFHH when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
The crown is yours.
Time for last call. Taking a look at the odds board at DraftKings for most regular season receptions here, Jay. A lot of fun long shots to play on this board.
Indeed. Jamar Chase, 7-1, is, I think, the rightful favourite coming off the Triple Crown, but it's a little further down the board. I'm going to take Detective Drake London, Scotland Yard, London Yard, 17-1. He was third in the NFL in targets last year, and 14 of those games were with Kirk Cousins. When Michael Penix came in, Michael Penix only looked at one player on his offense. It's Drake London, hovering around a 40% target share. So I think Drake London is very live to lead the league in receptions.
I like it. That. Yeah, Michael Penix is going to look as well, especially Darnell Mooney a little banged up. I like that call. I'm kind of thinking the same thought process here with Malik Neighbors. Just a guy that hogs all the targets, Matthew. Malik Neighbors, quarterback proof, but it's nice that they got some upgrades in Russell Wilson, maybe eventually Jackson Dart. If Jameis gets out there, this should be plus 500 instead, but right now you get it at 12-1.
Like that call. Both those calls are great. I'm going a little bit more obvious, but the same sort of thought process here with CeeDee Lamb, right? So I call him 8s, but CeeDee Lamb, he's 9-1. Basically, he is going to be the focal point of their offense. Yes, they've added George Pickens and Jake Ferguson, but neither of those guys are heavy target earners. You're going to take a couple of shots to Pickens. You'll move the chains a little bit with Ferguson, but it should be all CeeDee Lamb on an offense that is going to have to throw. I don't expect them to be able to run the ball effectively, and I don't think their defense is going to be as good, especially as Micah Parsons continues to hold out. So give me CeeDee Lamb. I call him 8 at 9-1 for this bet.
And he can't get knocked out by referees if he's got, his outfit on and on the field, as opposed to the sidelines, which is apparently the most dangerous place for CeeDee Lamb today.
Yes, factually correct. All right, so we are back tomorrow live at noon on YouTube. Appreciate you putting up with the taped episode today. Had an unavoidable thing as well, but it is closing time. You do not have to go home, but you can't stay here. We will see you tomorrow at noon live on YouTube, available on demand wherever you get podcasts, and of course on Peacock. For Jay and Connor, I'm Matthew Berry. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace out. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Rotoworld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.